Welcome to our series, Moving America Forward. Each week we'll be focusing on America's entrepreneurs as they take us to new roads, new opportunities, new ways to fill the gaps left by today's failing companies. Our series will be looking at that and a lot more. So come with me and watch as the entrepreneurs of our nation move into the future.
And I'm Doug Llewellyn here in our studio in Los Angeles with our guest today, who is the president of a company called MoDocs, which is headquartered in St. Joseph, Missouri. This is an insurance company that specializes in representing doctors. They provide medical professional liability insurance. In other words, it's malpractice insurance for doctors. I'd like you to meet that gentleman now. Here he is, Martin Bauman. Martin, welcome. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you for having me on.
You're very, very welcome. Before we begin and get into the details of this, a little while ago you had a chance to answer some questions from William Shatner. Let's pause and take a quick look at how a portion of that went, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's watch.
I know you are well established in your business, and I'm sure it wasn't easy to get started. Would you describe for me briefly what you do and how you began your business, and how do you think it's helping to move America forward?
Mr. Shatner, we began our company MoDocs out of necessity in 2004. In Missouri, the cost of medical liability insurance had risen to the point of 4 times the normal rate, and many physicians could not afford this. Over the last decade, we have helped physicians across our state get affordable medical liability insurance with superior coverage. At the same time, we've provided them with a critical education to help them minimize the risk of litigation. In that way, Mr. Shatner, we've helped move America forward.
That sounds like a really amazing story. I'm kind of interested to know how you got into doing this. I know because your background is in insurance and finance, really, isn't it?
Yes, and law.
And law. So how did you
I had some good friends who were doctors, and they were realizing the severe situation which was occurring in the year around 2000 to 2003. They were basically being charged horrendous rates, 3 and 4 times what they had paid just a few years before. And my partner, Rob Schaft, who is a doctor, asked me if I could solve the problem or at least mitigate it in some way. So we did.
And as I recall, I remember hearing the cost of this insurance was actually driving some doctors out of the business.
A great deal of movement occurred across state lines into Kansas and Illinois and stuff in order to avoid the cost of medical liability insurance in Missouri.
So what did you do? It's not easy to start an insurance company, is it?
No, you're not supposed to be able to do this.
That's right.
Yes. Well, there's a law in Missouri that allows a group of physicians or any professionals to gather together and if they agree to assess themselves if a loss occurs, they can form an insurance company. They have like 3 years or so to build up the reserves. We managed to put a group together to do that, and then we had to put in some strict underwriting standards because while we wanted to offer good insurance, we can't offer the good insurance to everybody. We had to be selective, so we were highly selective, and then we had to offer a very good policy. So then we went and beefed up the policy, so those very good doctors got a very good policy at an affordable price.
So explain to me how you go about picking. It would seem to me if I had an insurance company, if I were in your shoes, I'd be very, very selective about the doctors that I sold insurance to. A brain surgeon, a neurosurgeon, if he has a problem in his case and he loses, it's going to cost a lot more money than a doctor treating somebody for a broken leg. How do you go about evaluating the doctors?
You're absolutely right. We have sort of a proprietary system that we put in place, we designed very early on to completely evaluate the doctor when he applies for insurance with us. We go through his medical history, his legal history, and anything that's on the web and come up with a recommendation to either insure him or not insure him. And we also base his rate upon not only his character, but where he's performing his surgeries and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So you really,
we do a lot of studying.
You do a lot of background investigative.
Yes, we do.
And when you have a case that it comes up for, whether you're going to accept the case or whether you're going to, whatever happens, you get very involved in the legality aspects of it. I mean, as you point out, your background is in law as well, very much so. And if it goes to trial, you're there.
That's correct.
You're not the litigator, but you're in the courtroom.
You're right. I'm in the back of the courtroom every time.
Yeah. And I was also interested to hear, because we hear a lot about cases that go against doctors sometimes. You know, they get sued a lot. But that primarily, some 70% of these malpractice cases against doctors, the doctors prevail in the case.
That is correct.
I find that pretty fascinating, indeed.
But the numbers are so big that the plaintiffs are worth going for the gold ring, so to speak.
Right, they are. But obviously, this tells me they're hard cases to prove.
Very hard.
So what do you have to do to make sure you've got everything nailed down before a case goes to trial?
Well, we have been very selective, not only in our doctors, but we've been very selective in our lawyers that we have represent our doctors. You have an office lawyer who handles some paperwork. Then you have a trial lawyer who knows everything the office lawyer knows, but he also knows procedures and trial tactics. Well, then you put on top of that a medical malpractice trial lawyer, and he knows the medicine, the procedures, and the law. They're very hard to come by, but they're very good, and ours are very good.
And you also, as I understand it, you have what you double team a case.
We do from time to time.
I'm not sure what that means. Tell me that.
Well, that's a lawyer, when he sues, when a plaintiff's lawyer sues, he'll almost always sue the corporation as well as the doctor, because doctors have set up corporations to manage their offices. When he does that, you really have two defendants, and you have an opportunity to put two sets of lawyers in there to defend. It's very expensive, but it works.
It's expensive for the legal fees from that point of view.
Right. The legal, it's expensive to MoDocs.
For the doctor.
That's correct.
But if indeed he wins, it's obviously it's worth the expense.
It is. And we win 90% of the time in our case.
And just for my information, what happens if a doctor loses a case and the insurance company has to pay off? Is that a real black mark against the doctor?
The doctor can in some cases receive he'll be reported to the National Practitioners Database, which when he moves around, that will be follow with him. So yes, it's not a good thing. We're very interested in the doctor's reputation and protecting it.
So how has this changed the insurance situation in Missouri, the presence of your company?
Well, two things occurred. First of all, we started to lower rates when we came in, and we offered a policy that was better than what was being offered, and we offered it at affordable rates. Rates went down. Then over time...
Across the board in Missouri?
Across the board,
okay.
Yes. And now, of course, it's actually sort of going back the other way, because the national companies are trying to come back in, and that's what started it all to begin with, was they did away with the local companies. They bought them up. Well, they'd like to do that again so that it could raise rates, but we're planning on staying.
So are you talking now about your competition? Or is it the big insurance
the big boys.
companies, the big boys we all hear of?
Yes.
So they're in this as well.
We don't need to mention any names, but yeah, they're all
you
there.
don't have to mention them. You can think of them off the top of your head. So they're your competition.
You bet.
Are you unique in this field? I mean, and not only that, but are you only available to sell insurance in Missouri, or do you sell it elsewhere as well?
We sell only in Missouri.
Okay.
And we do some peripheral coverage for a doctor that crosses the borders, but in Illinois or Kansas.
Right.
But for the most part, only Missouri. We're not totally unique. Then others had tried this, but what they did was cheapen up the policy in order to make things work, as opposed to be more selective.
Okay. Tell me about your background, because it's really fascinating. Give me a little bit more information.
Well, when I went to college, I wanted a degree in finance. They offered a degree in finance and insurance, so I took it. And I graduated from college, then I went to law school. And my law school degree, I coupled with my business degree at that time. And then finally, I did a practice law in the trial courts for a number of years, and I also did a lot of business work in banking, which banking really is an awful lot like insurance, same regulators and everything.
Right. So you feel eminently qualified, obviously very highly qualified for what you're doing, what you've gotten into.
We're pretty good at this.
Do you like it?
Yes, I love it.
Very good. I have a little brochure here that's called the Freedom Tale. You know, hearing that, I can't imagine what it's about. Tell me how this relates to your work.
Well, doctors have what they call claims-made insurance, and that is you as an individual, if you you drive a car and you have an accident, that's an occurrence policy. Your insurance binds it and covers you the minute the accident occurs. Doctors have what's known as this claims-made insurance, which it not only has to have the accident occur during the time period, but also the reporting of the claim must occur by the petitioner making the claim,
Right.
both within the policy period. So this second stage is a tail, a time in the future in which to report. So doctors, what happens is insurance companies allow doctors to extend their tail coverage by paying a sum of money, and they can report out in the future. Well, they almost always say, well, if you retire, doctor, you can get an extended tail. However, if you go back to work, your tail's canceled. Well, that leaves the doctor exposed. He doesn't go back to work. We wanted these good doctors to go back to work. So I was asked to solve it, or try and solve it.
Right.
And it just dawned on me, you know, I asked a lot of insurance people, why we do this? And they didn't have a good reason. So we changed it. And now we're the only company I know that does this. But we basically say, doctor, if you retire and you go back into the practice of medicine, you've got all the coverage you had before plus what you have in the future. And that's a freedom tail.
Well, that's very interesting. Are other insurance companies, you think, going to follow your lead? Or
I don't know. They followed our leads on a number of things.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
So you're in the forefront of so many different things in this field.
We're doing pretty good in it.
It's very interesting what you've managed to accomplish. Well, it's an amazing story. What do you see for the future of your firm?
Well, we hope to solidify our position in the state and
Right.
to be of sufficient force to maintain this position of keeping the rates down. As long as we're in control of rates and as long as we're interested in the doctors and their patients and not the insurance company's profits, then we're happy.
And have you found that the rates are lower in Missouri than they are in other states, like and even the biggies, like California, New York?
I can't say that. I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. Well, at least you know. Thank you so much. This has been very interesting.
Thank you
indeed.
very much for having me on here.
Appreciate it.
This organization represents companies across our great nation that embody the spirit, dedication, know-how, and can-do attitude which has made America the great nation that it is today. And now let's present the Keeping America Strong Award.
Now it's my honor to present this prestigious award to Martin Bauman, the president of MoDocs of St. Joseph, Missouri, for the outstanding work his firm is doing to help keep moving America forward. Martin, congratulations.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of our staff and the 600 doctors we represent. Thank you.
That's it for another edition of Moving America Forward. I'm Bert Tenzer. Join us again as we continue to bring you the entrepreneurs who move America forward.
I'm William Shatner, and for all of us at Moving America Forward, thanks for watching.